This is Daddy Warpig's Hour of Bullshit. I am your host, Daddy Warpig. Catch me online, daddywarpig.com. Once again, that's daddywarpig.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at daddy_warpig, at daddy_warpig. What the hell is this show? Well, I'll be perfectly honest, folks. I am a little bit irritable today. I am a little bit irritable, and I am feeling very, very, very under the weather. So I just wanted to get together with some people I know and see what bullshit we could talk. That's right. That's all this show is people talking whatever they want to talk about. I mean, not specifically purposely talking about nothing, but just talking about whatever you want to talk about. So go ahead and RT the link. People who have a mic and a who want to join in, I am more than happy to let you join in. So I am going to be pausing. I am going to be tweeting while I'm here. I'm going to be looking at comments. Do not expect this to be the same fast-paced show that the Kick-Ass Geekcast always is, because this is an impromptu bullshit session. I literally decided to do this about 7 minutes ago. So you're going to have to pause for a second while I type something up. All right. Make sure to add all the appropriate hashtags. See, normally when I'm on the air, if I have to do anything in my browser, I will continue talking at the same time I'm typing. So unless you know me and can tell when I'm talking unusually slow, it is very difficult for most people to tell when I'm actually not quite paying attention all the way to everything I'm saying. Yes, it is absolutely true. There are times when I need to flip. I've had to flip to a website, search for something in Google, find out what I want, open up the new tab with it, all while I continue to do typical talking. So it is, I have had friends tell me that it would be absolutely impossible for them to do that. I don't know about you, but I've had to learn how to do that since doing talk radio for a while. I had to learn how to pay attention to other stuff while at the same time I was continuing to explain some particularly odd or abstruse political point. I don't know. So my point is this: during the hour of bullshit, I do not have anything specific that I wish to talk about. So if I am if I seem distracted, likely it is because I am distracted typing something in to the chat field or typing something into a search box or Twitter or whatever. But I am more than willing and eager for people to come in and join. And until or unless other people don't, I will try to keep up a mildly entertaining show for roughly an hour. So I'm hoping that internet problems don't somehow cause a massive crash. I'm trying to shut down all my internet heavy programs right now just so things will run smoothly. This is, again, bullshit hour, so I get to say whatever I want and I don't even feel bad. I live out in a place where internet is bad, and I mean really, really bad. We get around 100 to 500 millisecond lag all the time, sometimes up to 1,000 milliseconds. That's a whole second of actual lag. that makes multiplayer difficult, if not impossible. And because of that, it makes doing a show like this, where you are streaming live audio, very, very painful on the processor, very, very painful on, well, you, the listener, because the audio buffers and you get gaps as connections get dropped, things like that. So I have to make sure to turn off anything that's running on the internet, just so people will be able to hear it, instead of having gaps and squeals and the audio all of a sudden speed up and whatever. It's just not an optional, not an optimal situation. So in any case, why did I do this? Because I'm irritable. I am tired. I am really under the weather, and dealing with all this stuff, it is surprising to me, because I would not have anticipated this before I came and got involved in Gamergate. It is surprisingly stressful to have to deal with the amount of BS that the antis put out on a daily basis. If I do not understand, deep, deep, deep in my heart of hearts, I do not understand why people have such an adverse reaction to asking that games journalists obey the same code of ethics that regular journalists do. That is a simple thing to ask. That's a simple thing to want. That's a simple thing to desire. And more importantly, it's good. It's morally right. It's the best possible thing for video games as a medium, for video game companies, for video game journalists, and for us as gamers. What is wrong with that? There is no sane person on the planet that can seriously make the case that ethics in games journalism is not a crucial aspect. It's not a crucial goal. It's not a good goal to be pursuing. No one in the world can make that case. And yet these people, these scumbags, act like we are hurting people. We are betraying people. We are destroying the medium of video games. I have no idea what it is that they think justifies such a rabid, irrational reaction to such a simple request. And yet all we get day after day, all the time, is nothing but rabid, irrational reactions. And I look at this, and it would never have occurred to me before I got involved in Gamergate that this would be as wearying and stressful as I have found it to be. I find it wearying to hear the litany of abuses that have been heaped on the heads of good people, of innocent people, of, in many cases, sweet and kind people that I personally have gotten to know over the last 3 months. And I know, intellectually, I know how they can justify this level of nastiness and repugnancy and hate. I know how they can justify that intellectually, but I do not understand really in my heart what it is they are thinking or doing, and I guess maybe how it is to feel like that. That's why I don't get it. That's why I don't understand it, is I don't have that circuit in my brain that allows me to think that way, that allows me to feel that way, that allows me to act that way. And because I don't have that circuit in my brain, it is confusing to me and befuddling to me and frustrating to me to see these people act like this all the time, and yet for none of them to actually really recognize, in the sense of seeing it and grokking it, to recognize what they themselves are doing. So I think I've been setting out the wrong link. Son of a gun. I'm going to have to go back and correct myself so people can get in here. But while I do that, while I get in and fix the link, I have a question. Beth, Beth asked me a question. So while I send out this last tweet, I am mentally preparing myself. I'm mentally preparing myself to answer this question with my usual vim and verve and vigor. Oh, I've been sending out people a link to my blog. I've been sending out people a link to a post on my blog, not to this stream. So we have people now showing up on my blog looking around wondering, what the hell just happened? Why am I looking at pictures of Disney characters taking selfies? I thought this was a stream. Yeah, that was my fault. I apologize to every single person I sent that link to. That was completely, utterly, totally, and in every other way, my fault. Like I said, I'm feeling tired and I'm feeling stressed right now, and so I'm off my game. And I can tell I'm off my game because I'm dropping more typos when I'm typing up tweets than I'm used to. None of your business asked about the assault happening today. This is what I understand from the tweets on his account and from what I can remember of the tweets on his account, given the fact that I am a little bit under the weather, so you have to forgive me if I have made a mistake or two about holy crap, I tweeted this out like 5 times to different people. I'm having to delete all these tweets. I look like an idiot. So this is what I know of the assault. Review Mage, Steve Tom Sawyer, lives with a girlfriend, and his girlfriend showed her friends his Twitter feed. And on the basis of his Twitter feed, on the basis of what they saw in his Twitter feed, they decided that he was a scumbag, vile misogynist. So they were not being affected. They are not antis, so far as anybody knows. And they're not directly necessarily being inspired by anti-propaganda, again, so far as anybody knows. But they accused him of being a misogynist and then physically attacked him to force him out of his apartment, the apartment he shares with his girlfriend. As a result, he's got a little bit of time to get out of the apartment, to move all of his stuff out of the apartment, and also to find a place to move into on a temporary or permanent basis. So, looking at the situation, there is no evidence. Now, has this attack really taken place? Well, Review Mage said that he recorded it on video, and other people have chimed in to say, yes, they saw the video. Yes, they saw this assault taking place. He is taking the film to the police, but again, he has to find a new place to live, and he has to move all of his stuff out in the next hour or two. And looking at that, you have to understand why he hasn't gone to the police yet, because he was intimidated when a large group of people were, or several people were physically attacking him, and other people and at the same time bullying him and trying to convince him not to go to the police with this attack. Fortunately, somehow he got it videotaped, and I'm not sure how that happened because it hasn't been posted. And I am not asking him any questions right now because he's way too busy. But just to put some misapprehensions to rest: one, he has not said that this was done by aunties themselves. Two, he has not said that these specific women were enraged by anti-propaganda other than what they saw on his Twitter feed. So this is not right now a case of antis attacking a member of the pros. That is the best information, as I can recall it, that I have available right now. It is wrong. It is unfortunate. It is vile, but it happened. There are crazy people out there in the world, and apparently his girlfriend's friends, which happens sometimes, your significant other's friends hate you or are just a little nuts. So it is a sad situation. It is, well, I'll be honest, it's a tragic situation. It's a heart-wrenching situation to go from being with someone and living with someone you care about to being kicked out in less than an hour, to being beaten by their friends, and to have to be forced to depend on the help of strangers for a place to live until you can find some place to rent. That is a tragic situation. My heart goes out to Steve Tom Sawyer. My heart goes out to anyone in that situation. I hope he finds some place to land. If you're in LA, if you can help, he doesn't need money. He said he's actually refused offers of money. He just needs a place to crash for tonight. If you live in LA, if you have a place to crash, please email him and offer him some help. Let me see. Let me do some more typing and see if I can pull up his email account. He posted his email account earlier on his feed. Let me get that link. I will drop it into the notes underneath the vid, so that if you can help Steve Tom Sawyer, help Review Mage, send him an email letting him know that you know of or have a place to stay. Okay, that is now in the comments underneath the announcement of the hour of bullshit. So if you can help, if you're in LA with some place to stay, if you know of some place to stay, or if you have a place yourself, please give him a chance. Okay, Peeves asked the question in the comments or in the chat, which is, have you ever done radio? Yes, I did radio for 3 years. At two different stations. One was my college station. I got picked up by a commercial station in the town I live in, and I worked there for 2 years before real life jumped up and happened, and I had to do I couldn't do radio anymore. I thought at that point that I would never be able to do radio again because there was no way for me to get back on the air. But the fact is, I am now on the internet, and I think internet radio, that's why I don't do videos. That's why I'm not doing pictures on a stream, because this isn't really a stream for me. When I'm sitting here in my chair with the mic, I don't really consider this a stream. This is talk radio to me. This is what I used to do. The feeling of being in the chair and speaking to the mic is exactly the same mentally, physically, the sensations, the emotions, the effort it takes to focus and be able to spontaneously describe complicated issues as compactly, concisely, and clearly as I can. All of that is just like what I used to do on the. I have missed it for over a decade. It's been that long since I've been able to do talk radio. I am just glad to be here. I'm just glad to be able to do this. And the fact that I'm doing it right now with a group of people I admire so much, and with a cause I believe in so much, the cause of ethics in journalism, is just, that's just gravy. That's just extra. That's just, extra goodness on the side. So if yeah, that's my story with talk radio. All right, are there any more? Yes, Disney characters and selfies. That was entirely my fault. I'm going to drop in and see if anybody else has any questions. And while I'm waiting to see if anyone else has any questions, I'm going to be turning off my phone so it doesn't interrupt. And I'm going to talk some bullshit because this is Daddy Warpig's Hour of Bullshit, which means rather than focusing on tight news that I'm commenting on, I'm going to talk about whatever it crosses my mind to talk about. I hit a wall yesterday. These two events were not linked, at least I don't think, but these two events happened in close conjunction. I woke up in the morning and I was kind of blearily walking over to my computer as I do. I sat down and I like to do some stuff to divert my mind while I'm waiting for my body to catch up and realize I am actually awake. While I was doing that, I popped into Twitter, and right at the top of my mentions was somebody saying, oh no, Daddy Warpig was just making a joke. And I'm like, I wonder what I was just making a joke about. I do make jokes. That is certainly the case, but I don't know exactly what it is or was talking about that was a joke. So I clicked on the link. I saw it was literally, no lie, the editor-in-chief of PC Gamer magazine. Now, I talked about this on the show Friday because, well, why not? Editor-in-chief of PC Gamer magazine had a problem with something I posted Thursday night, and the point he was making about it was stupid, and you can listen to Friday's show to find out what point that was or what was stupid about it. And so I sparred with him back and forth for 4 hours while I was doing the normal stuff I do on Twitter involved with Gamergate, which is retweet good stuff, post and comment on stuff, and interact with people who are replying to me. Generally just try to make my observations known, make my opinions known, lift people's spirits if I can, make jokes, whatever I can do, and gather information, do show prep for my show that night, whatever I can do to make people feel better, to give them a little bit of energy, a little bit of hope, remind them that this is a long, frustrating, painful process, but as long as we keep sending emails, as long as we endure, we will win. And there is, as of now, no alternative for us. Those of you who are anonymous, you can go back to your lives. Those of us who are more public cannot. There is no win condition if we give up and walk away, because we will be abused and hounded the rest of our lives. So after that, after getting done 4 hours, the editor-in-chief of PC Gamer magazine saw fit to spar with me on and off over Twitter for reasons I do not adequately understand, because I am not an editor-in-chief. I am not a big public figure. I am not a celebrity. So why you would waste 4 hours of your life sparring with someone who you don't know anything about? This person does not know that I do an internet radio show. They do not know that I used to be on the air and talk radio. They don't know that I used to be an opinion columnist, because I was never a nationwide figure. I was never a national figure. I was never a big, famous public person, and yet somehow my single comment was important enough for him to waste off and on over the course of 4 hours of his life arguing with me about a stupid argument he made. So after that got done, I hit a wall. I don't know what it was. I don't know why it happened, and I'm still feeling the effects of it. I just became completely fatigued, very, very stressed, and it was a very, very difficult and painful process to continue reading and writing and show prep, because all I wanted to do, all my body wanted to do, was shut down and go to sleep. It did not want to do any information processing. It did not want to do any writing, and it damn sure didn't want to get on the air and do a show last night. But I pushed through it, got on the air, I did my show, and to get over this wall, to get over this exhaustion, I went out and saw some movies last night. Specifically, I saw 3 movies last night. I saw Fury, I saw Interstellar, I saw John Wick. And we've got a question I can answer that I will answer real quick, or not so real quick. And then I will tell you what I thought of those movies. So, someone has asked me, what developers or what publishers should we support? I don't have an official list of publishers who have made statements, or publishers' employees who have made statements about the cause of ethics in games journalism. I do, however, have 2 companies who I personally am now boycotting because of statements made by their employees and or actions the company themselves took. I was part of the protest over Mass Effect 3. I was in the BioWare forums from the very first day that game was, that I finished playing that game. I bought the collector's edition, and I had bought the collector's edition of the previous games. I was in the forums the very first day that Mass Effect 3 had been out, and I stayed there until it became absolutely clear, until BioWare said, screw you, we don't want you as our customers anymore. And I said, great. Now that I understand that, I won't be your customer anymore. And they have, or prominent employees of theirs have said some unpleasant things about the cause of ethics in games journalism. So I decided to continue my boycott. Nothing they have done has convinced me to do anything differently. At the same time, a prominent employee of, I believe it's Ubisoft. It might be Ubisoft. I don't really care. I read their name. I've never heard it spoken. They came out, and these tweets were sent a couple of weeks ago. This is not new stuff. It's just that somebody found them and retweeted them. One tweet came out on October 15th. One tweet came out on August 28th, which, you know, that's right when Gamergate just got started. So the first tweet, the earliest tweet, doesn't refer specifically to Gamergate because it may have been tweeted, in fact, before Adam Baldwin posted his first post in the tag. But the October 15th tweet definitely does refer to Gamergate and is very uncomplimentary. He calls us terrorists, like actual real, chopping people's heads off, shooting school kids, blowing up pizzerias, murdering old men in wheelchairs, killing Olympic athletes, flying planes into buildings, terrorists. And that irritated me. That irked me. Put that together with Ubisoft's distasteful and dishonest handling of Assassin's Creed Unity. That is, it is clearly a bugged game, not ready for release, but they pushed it out anyway, and from what I understand, had an embargo on reviews so that reviewers could not tell their audience that they, in point of fact, did produce a subpar game and lied about it. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what business plan they had. So we have one employee deliberately attempting, or deliberately calling Gamergaters terrorists, and then we have Ubisoft doing something that is anti-consumer in abusing people who had pre-ordered the game by shipping something shitty, and then making games journalists their accomplices in this by refusing to allow them to release timely reviews that would warn people against buying it on the first day. They have lost my trust as a consumer. They have lost my trust, not just for what one employee did, but for the shitty things the company did. And so I've added Ubisoft to my list of scumbag companies I personally am boycotting. I am aware that an employee of Blizzard liked Jordy Tate's rant, his homicidal, genocidal, Nazi murder death rant, but I have not yet taken the step of boycotting Blizzard. On the other hand, Blizzard hasn't made any games that I've been interested in for a long time, and so I haven't bought anything recently. That's not a boycott, it's just me not being interested. I'm just not interested in anything Blizzard makes. So I'm not boycotting them. I'm just not buying anything from them right now. So my personal boycott list as far as developers go includes those two companies, Ubisoft, BioWare. My personal whitelist of developers that I have some amount of trust in, that I'm willing to buy things they make that interest me. Bethesda has made Skyrim, which I loved. They made Fallout 3, which I loved. They made Oblivion, which I loved. I played the hell out of all of those games. And even I especially loved a game that wasn't developed by them, but was published by them, which is Fallout New Vegas. Loved all of those games. And if Bethesda publishes something, at the very least, I am willing to consider it. If it is an open world RPG, then I am almost certain to buy it. Yes, if they make a Fallout 4 or an Elder Scrolls 6, I will pre-order that and buy it just because it has the Bethesda name on it. The other people who I am willing to spend money on sight unseen is Rockstar Games. Now, Rockstar Games won that position not only by making two kick-ass games in the form of Grand Theft Auto 4 and Grand Theft Auto 5, they also did something very, very kind for me, which they did not have to do. I bought the collector's edition of Grand Theft Auto 5 on my Xbox 360, and my Xbox 360 broke. So it was either spend all the money to buy a new one or buy a new PS3 for the same price. So I bought a new PS3 for the same price, and along with that PS3, because it was when the bundles came out, I got the Rockstar, the Grand Theft Auto 5 bundle. Because why not? I enjoyed the game on the Xbox 360. I might as well, and I hadn't yet had a chance to finish it. I hadn't yet beaten it on the 360. I was about a third of the way through when my console died. So I bought a PS3. I bought the version with the bundle with Grand Theft Auto 5. I also bought the collector's edition of The Last of Us all at the same time. And I wrote into, along with the collector's edition of Grand Theft Auto, came with a code for some extra vehicles, some extra weapons, access to the blimp, just some fun little things. I wrote into Rockstar and said, hey, you know what? I bought Grand Theft Auto 5 on the 360. My console broke. I bought it again on the PS3, but because I didn't buy the collector's edition, I don't have access to the collector's edition, additional DLC, additional content. And about a week later, they said, here's your replacement code for your DLC. Just sent me a new replacement code so I could put it in on the PS3 and download that content. Now, they didn't have to do that. There was nothing. I made the choice to buy both those games on two different on 2 different systems. They didn't have to do that. They voluntarily did that in the interests of customer service. Red Dead Redemption, that's also a game of theirs I really, really liked. Grand Theft Auto Horse, I know. But because of their degree of customer service, of taking care of me at a time when I was poor and I could not afford certain things myself, because they helped me out, Rockstar Games has gone on my white list of companies I'm willing to consider buying something from sight unseen, especially if it's another Red Dead Redemption or another Grand Theft Auto. I'm willing to buy that as a loyal customer because they have proven their loyalty to me as a customer. I am, and I think most gamers are, very loyal customers. And if developers and publishers treat us well, we will stick with them long past the time when sanity would determine that we should go seek entertainment elsewhere. Christopher Nolan is a director who's on my personal white list. I will go and watch just about any Christopher Nolan movie just because he made it, which is why I saw Interstellar. Gamers are very loyal to outlets, to developers, to publishers, and unless they get abused. And once you abuse them past a certain point, they tend to flip to the opposite end of the scale, where they are not just, instead of being loyal customers, they are loyal anti-customers. And I have become a loyal anti-customer to BioWare, and I am a loyal customer to Rockstar Games. That is my personal position based on my experience with having people treat me well or treat me poorly. All right, let's see if we have any more questions in the comments. If you have a question, please post them in the comments. This is the bullshit hour. I'm talking about whatever I want to talk about for an hour, just because I was tired, just because I was frustrated, just because Tone Police were pissing me off. Heck, it's my bullshit hour. Let's talk about that. I made fun of some people today because A, I like doing it, B, I am good at it, and C, it amuses people, and I like amusing people because this is a long, stressful slog, and so long as people are sending emails, I don't really care what else they do. And if I can amuse them, if I can lift their spirits, if I can give them some hope, and I'm not saying I'm the king at doing that, I'm not saying I'm the best at doing that, and I'm not saying I'm indispensable, because I'm not. If I went away, somebody else would rise up and do the same sorts of things. But at the same time, when I post things making fun of other people, and I have, in my stress state and exhausted state, I have assholes jumping up to scold me for doing that, it damages my calm. And it got to the point I was ready to start blocking people. Whoever mentioned Operation Mute to me, I was ready to just click the block button and kick them off. I don't want to do that, and that was kind of a red flag, so I decided to do something different. I decided to get out of Twitter and do this because, at the very least, people who are tone policing me, I can easily ignore. So, if you feel like tone policing me today, just be aware I'm in a very touchy mood, and I'm not going to react well. If I don't respond with a snarky tweet, I will almost certainly block you. So please, don't do it. Just let me do my thing, because I know how to do my thing, and I know how to do my thing well. And I can't do everything in the world. There are a lot of things I can't do. But making fun of stupid people is one of the things I'm really, really good at. Talking about letting me do my thing, someone made the comment, imagine if you took all the time that you invest in making fun of people, invested it in making new video games. Let me respond to that calmly. I am, before I got involved in Gamergate, I was building a role-playing game. Still am in the back of my mind, and planning to write a unusual, epic fantasy novel. I am not ready yet to write it. I'm doing world building and things like that. But that's what I was working on. That's what I was working towards. And I have put all of that on hold because this cause of ethics in journalism matters to me. So if you want to complain about me wasting my creative energies on something, I can certainly stop doing everything related to Gamergate and go back to making a tabletop pencil and paper role-playing game, go back to planning some settings I think will be cool and fun and interesting, go back to getting ready to play test, because I've been doing Gamergate for almost 3 months now. That's 3 months I could have been spending doing other things. I just think this is more important. And I don't appreciate people telling me to do things their way. There's 15,000 of us on Twitter. If I do things my way, we're all volunteer. That's not just my right as a private citizen. It's also best for Gamergate that I do things my way in my own time. I spend a lot of time on Gamergate. Other people don't have as much time. Is that criticizing them or boosting myself? No, it's just a fact of life. You contribute when you want, as you want, in the way that you are capable of. The people who made, and I just downloaded this song today. I thought it was awesome. It was a song making fun of misogyny. It was a parody of Shim Shiminy Shim Shiminy Shim Shim Sharoo from Mary Poppins. And yes, I do love Mary Poppins, the movie. Suffer. And this is their thing, to do parodies and to sing. And I think that's awesome. I couldn't do that. I do not have a singing voice. I can't sing in tune. Well, I can do talk radio. I can write, and I can make fun of stupid people the way they deserve. So those people who made that parody song, that brilliant, brilliant, brilliant parody song, go and do their thing the way they can, and I do my thing the way they can, and people who don't like it can piss off. Because if I choose to make fun of somebody, it's because I want to, and I think that it is relevant and sufficient. So if you don't like me making fun of people, mute me, block me, or change your tabs. Don't push me on it because I don't care. It just irritates me and it just makes me angry, and nobody likes me when I'm angry. That's not a threat. That's not a Bruce Banner, oh, you wouldn't like me when I'm angry because I'm big and dangerous and I turn into a green monster. No. It's just that when I get angry, I get very unpleasant and I stop being amusing, witty Daddy Warpig, and I get short, abusive Daddy Warpig, and nobody likes that. People have seen me near that state on Friday, and I had a couple of good friends, including Asher Banapal and Tom Sawyer. By the way, his email address is down in the comments below, or notations, or whatever that is, as is the link to the misogyny song. If you're in LA, you can help Steve Tom Sawyer, please do. So, especially when I'm feeling tetchy, especially when I'm feeling stressed, especially when I'm feeling tired, I don't appreciate people trying to tell me what to do or what to say. And that's why I decided to do this, so I could get away from that and do something interesting and do something fun. I mean, honest to God, I was hoping I would be able to round up a few people to get in here and talk with me. I wasn't intending to do this whole thing myself for an entire hour, but the people who I invited weren't available, and so I guess I'll have to do this myself. Yes, this entire show is unscripted. It's entirely, completely, and totally off the top of my head. So if I seem rambling, if I seem unfocused, if I seem reaching for words. It's because I haven't practiced doing this show. I don't have a script here. Let's see. I'm reading the comments real quick to see if we have any trust. Necro C says that Konami has his trust, and I have no problems with Konami. I tend to not like the games that Konami produces, except maybe for Dead Rising. If I'm wrong, give me a sec. Let me grab the box. No, I packed the box away. I'll go take a look. In any case, I tend not to like the action games like Devil May Cry and Bayonetta. I'm not saying they're bad. They're just not what I personally enjoy. I also don't enjoy dating sims or, football video games. So that's not a knock against people who like them. Unlike certain other people I could name, I don't feel that every game that doesn't match my personal interests should be banned by the government. I do not believe that. So I don't have Konami on my personal whitelist, not because I've heard anything bad about them, but just because most of their games I tend not to enjoy as much as I enjoy other games. Is it Project Code Red? Is the Eastern European or Russian developers who made Witcher? I don't buy anything from them because I play on the console. I'm a dirty, dirty console peasant. And Witcher 2 on the console was just too overdeveloped. It required the use of a keyboard and a mouse. It was very difficult to control using a controller because there were tons of screens you had to flip through, and it was more complicated than any other RPG I've done on the console. I just couldn't get into it. However, I have heard really good things about their customer service, really good things about how they treat their customers, really good things about the games they make, and so they're on my list of developers I admire, even though I don't spend money on their products. Oh, Capcom made Dead Rising. Sorry, I knew something felt odd about that. I knew that wasn't quite right. So my apologies. Capcom is also one of those companies I don't have. They're not on a whitelist of automatically buy, but at the same time, they're not on a blacklist of avoiding. I have very few companies I will automatically buy from, two, in fact, and two companies I will automatically avoid. If you have any, well, again, people are putting this in the chat, so if you have any suggestions about good or bad developers, please feel free to drop them in the chat. Let's see. What is getting back to video? Okay, fine. Wish they would release Redneck Rampage updated. Okay, that's from None Ya Business. I personally wish they would release an updated version of Carmageddon with the zombie mod. The thought of getting in a car with rockets and racing around a racetrack, driving through or shooting zombies really appealed to me. I would not mind that a bit. If you have any other retro games you'd like to see updated, drop them in the chat. I'll talk about them. Yes, I have played 3rd edition quite a lot. I haven't played 4th or 5th. What's your favorite class or race? Surprisingly enough, I am the game master almost every time I play a role-playing game. I very rarely actually get to sit down and play. So, a sorcerer, I really enjoyed playing a rogue. I didn't get to play either long enough to really have a super affinity for any one 3rd edition class. Do you have an opinion on Nintendo? I played Nintendo a while ago. I enjoyed Super Mario Brothers. I enjoyed a couple of other Nintendo games. When I sat down to play the Wii, the music just drove me batty. I could not. The interface music, when you're sitting there creating your Mii, it drove me batty. I could not play it, and the graphics looked terrible next to what consoles had at the time, and so I didn't get into the Wii, and I'm not willing to spend money on a Wii U right now, and probably ever. I buy games like I was a hardcore gamer, and I play games for hardcore gamers, but in skill level, I am slightly above a casual. That's not a mark of shame. That is just the truth. I will always tell you the truth. What's the hottest pepper you've ever eaten? I have no idea. The red peppers that you get in restaurants to put on your pizza, although I do like pouring a lot of red peppers on a slice of pizza every now and then. Do you actually have that epic beard in real life? I did have a big beard that was that size in real life. The artist who made that picture, that is actually a photograph of me. That is a made from a photograph of me personally. At the time the picture was taken, I did have a beard that large. The artist who made the picture made it look much, much better than my beard does in real life. My beard in real life is not quite that full, is not quite that that magnificent, and recently I have had to shave my beard. So no, I do not have that beard anymore in real life to the extent that I really had it at one point. Let's see, scrolling along. People are liking Capcom. People are telling me Capcom made Dead Rising. People are liking Carmageddon and Castlevania. Let's see. I'm trying to think back. What games would I like to see more or less remade with the graphics uplift? Sid Meier's Alien Crossfire was a big favorite of mine. I would like to see that remade with a graphics update. They're talking about a spiritual successor that sounds like it has some interesting game mechanics to it, to where you have different tech trees that you can pursue in different directions, not just one tech tree. So you can, they're almost totally separate. Instead of having one tech tree, you have 3 different ones. You can go in 3 different directions. That does sound interesting. They're calling it a spiritual successor to Alpha Centauri, but the fact is, if it doesn't have mind worms, it's just not Alpha Centauri. I'm a big fan of Alpha Centauri and Alien Crossfire. I played both of those quite a lot. So I bought Civ Revolution. I enjoyed Civ Revolution on the console. I enjoyed it on my iPad. Unfortunately, it looks like the spiritual successor to Alpha Centauri, which I can't remember the name of right now, will not be as... It doesn't have mind worms. If you don't have mind worms coming out of the xenofungus to attack your colonies, it's just not the same thing. Horrible player early on. When I first played Alpha Centauri, I would get to the point where I hadn't learned yet why your mineral production caused mind worms to attack your colonies. And so I get to the end game, somebody's pushing you really hard, so I throw out a planet buster bomb because, effective. And then all of a sudden I'm having like 10 different fully grown mind worms come right over the walls into my colonies, eating all my colonists alive. And I don't know why it's happening, and I don't know how to stop it. And I'm desperately trying to protect myself because my planet rating is so terrible, and they're just eating my colonies alive, and the population figures are just dropping and dropping and dropping, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Horrible player when I first got the game. That's why I decided not to do Let's Play segments, because I just don't want people to watch me playing a game when I first start out, because I'm terrible. It would be embarrassing. And I'm okay not embarrassing myself in public any more than I already do. So the movies. Fury was a great movie. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It's not an action movie. It's a World War II movie. I liked it in part because it showed tankers, which is something a little bit different. And even though it was 100% predictable in certain spots, I could look at 2 different characters and know that they were going to die in the next 5 minutes, and sure enough, both of them died in the next 5 minutes. But it is a great movie. I enjoyed the hell out of the movie. I would recommend you go see it if you like war movies, or if you like Brad Pitt as an actor, because surprisingly enough, shockingly enough, he actually is a good actor. It seems unfair, that someone who is so good looking should also be a great actor. That seems unfair, but it certainly is the case. And the same applies to Angelina Jolie, his wife. That's Fury. That's my entire commentary on Fury. My comment on Interstellar is it was an enjoyable movie. I'm glad I watched it once. I stayed with it right up to the very trippy 2001 events. And go see it if you like Christopher Nolan movies, because it's an interesting. It's not something I would buy to watch over and over again. So 3D open world Duck Hunt. Remake Duck Hunt as a 3D open world game. We've got that suggestion. Let's see. No. Master V points out that modern players would cry to Nintendo to remove the dog because it makes fun of them. And that would hurt their, this is my interpretation, because that would hurt their feelings and they would be triggered by a dog making fun of them missing the ducks. So you can't do that. You would make people cry. A download game for the Wii U, Necrosia is suggesting that they could make Duck Hunt, remake Duck Hunt of that. A new Master of Magic would be interesting. I never played that game. I have no idea what that game is. I will be honest. Unreal Tournament also getting recommended. Unreal Tournament 3, and the commenters are saying the same thing. So I'm gonna have to say I would not look forward to a new Unreal Tournament. It's a good thing Epic Games made the jump to Gears of War, because Unreal Tournament was just dying on the vine. It was just not a very good game. I tend to play single player because that's my personal bent, and also because of the internet out here. But so games which are basically entirely multiplayer, or where the single player campaign is nothing but a random bunch of multiplayer. Yeah, Mass Effect 3 did that as well. One of the things that pissed me off, they had a bunch of missions on multiplayer maps. That was just obnoxious and annoying. Things like that don't interest me. Interstellar, Fury, and what was the third movie I saw was John Wick. It was an incredible action movie. It was a great action movie. It had a ton of awesome action scenes, some really interesting world building, great character moments. Keanu Reeves carries off one of the best performances, I think, of his career. Not the actual best, but one of the best performances of his career. It is in my top 5 list of favorite action movies right now. That may be just because I've seen it yesterday. I may need to reflect on that, but yeah, I would recommend, if you like action movies, if you love action, go see John Wick, because it is great. Okay, I said this is an hour of bullshit because I'm going to cut this close after an hour. We have about 10 or so minutes left before the hour is up, I think, if I've been keeping track of it right. So anyone, if you have any other questions for me, go ahead and throw them in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer them. I don't know if I'm going to do this again. Hopefully, if I do it again, I'll be able to get some people to jump in on the stream with me. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I should talk about that is Gamergate related. Just so many. I'm going to say this. What level of offensive is my shirt today? I have a gray shirt on. I have a gray t-shirt on. The only thing offensive you can say about my gray t-shirt is that apparently it is polyester, not cotton, or at least a heavy poly blend, and it seems to have a pocket on it, so it's not quite a great t-shirt. So that's the level of offensiveness that my shirt reached today. It is, I suppose it could be offensive to someone, but my God, if the color gray offends you, then you should move to a small colony somewhere in the Alaskan wilderness and stop bothering real people, because nothing you say or do for the rest of your life will be positive or helpful at all to the human race. You can contribute nothing. You are contributing nothing. And if the color gray offends you, you are insane. And I do not wish to be around your insanity. Okay, good news. I just flipped back to my to one of my lists on Twitter. Review Mage says that he now has a safe place to stay, but can no longer comment publicly about the events of last night under the advisement of multiple parties. I would bet that that is legal advice he has received. And so you will not be hearing any more updates on that situation and from him, and I don't have any more information other than what I have already said. So I really have nothing more to say about oh, okay, one more question real quick. Let's see. Satori Mask asks, you mentioned the Fox News option in a previous stream. What do you think we'd get out of them covering us? My opinion on Fox News is this. Even though if Fox News covered us in, at the very least, a balanced way, we are more likely to get fair coverage out of Fox News than anybody else because they have a very, very small number of social justice warriors at the network. It is not the problem with CNN and NBC is not that they are left-wing media organizations, although by and large that's generally true. Those who work for those organizations are left-wing. The problem with CNN and MSNBC are both have a large number of either out-and-out social justice warriors or social justice warrior-friendly people. That is, leftists who, for whatever reason, are still friendly to the social justice warriors, are still willing to listen to what they say, even though what they're saying makes no sense or is, in fact, outright lies. That compromises the New York Times, the LA Times, CNN, MSNBC, and a lot of other large media organizations. Even when the people working there are not SJWs, they are willing to take the SJW's word for what happened with regards to Gamergate. That's why those organizations are compromised. Fox has very few SJWs working for them, so they are more likely to give us a fair hearing than other mainstream cable organizations. And you can say, well, what about Mass Effect? Yeah, that Mass Effect situation was noxious and stupid, but let me tell you what happened with it. Somebody somewhere noticed something or thought they noticed something and put out a press release. A bunch of talking heads who needed to fill time on a television show took that statement as if it was accurate when it wasn't and commented on it as if it was accurate. Now, I'm not trying to defend that. I'm not trying to say this is good and normal and decent, and that's really how we want the news media to be. I'm not trying to defend that. It was not maliciousness or hating video games or video gamers. It was laziness because these people are very, very busy. They lead very, very busy lives, and they did not have the time to do the proper amount of research before commenting on it when their producer threw it at them. That's not a defense. It's just an actual accurate description of what happened. That does not mean that Fox News hates video games or hates video gamers. And it does not mean that people who work at Fox News hate video games or hate video gamers. The gentleman who does their 1 o'clock in the morning show with the glasses, his name I can't remember right now, but he's a geek. I'm betting he plays video games. I'm betting he plays video games a lot. He at least would be willing to give us a fair coverage. I don't think, at least right now, it does not seem like Fox News is going to cover this any more than they have yet. So I don't think that, even if I am correct, Fox News reaches 20 million people a week. 20 million individual unique viewers a week. getting an even-handed portrayal of the pros to 20 million people, an even-handed description of the abuse that we've suffered because of SJWs out to 20 million people would absolutely help the hell out of our cause. But, I mean, can you imagine Liz or Jenny Barrage or Oliver going on one of these shows and presenting the pro side or being interviewed for the pro side? That would be awesome. Yeah, Red Eye. Greg something. He does the Red Eye. Somebody just asked that in the comments. So, yeah, I do think Fox News could help us. I don't think they will, though. I don't think they're going to come over the hill. There is no cavalry coming. And I'm not trying to say that to be despairing or discouraging, because we don't need a cavalry to win. We don't need a cavalry to come save us. All we need is to keep sending emails and to endure. And that is hard. I'm not going to lie to you. That is hard. This is very draining on me. It's very tiring on me. And there have been, but I'm not giving you a pep talk right now. I wish I was. I wish I was one of those people who works at a corporation and whether the situation is shitty or great could get up in front of a big crowd of employees and give them a rousing pep talk and have them yelling yay and charging out and doing what they're supposed to do. I'm not one of those bullshit artists. I don't have it in me. The only thing I can do is tell you what I think, tell you what I feel, tell you the truth. And as far as I'm concerned, as far as I can tell, this is exhausting and this is painful and this is draining. And there have been a dozen or more times where I have seriously, honest to God, been so worn down that I've considered walking away. And I haven't. I'm still here. I'm still doing the best I can to advance our cause. I'm still using all of my talents and abilities to advance our cause. I have put all of my other projects on hold to work on this, to be here with you in the trenches every single day. I'm not bragging about that. I'm not trying to talk myself up or make myself out to be some giant champion. I'm just saying I know what it feels like if you get tired or discouraged or you feel a bit like Sisyphus or Tantalus. Sisyphus was the guy in Greek mythology who was in Hades and who was sentenced to push a rock up a hill every day for eternity. He would push this massive, massive stone up a hill, and if he could get it to the top and get it to stay there, he'd be free, and he could go live in the Elysian fields. But he'd push it up the hill every single day, work his ass off. As soon as he got it to the top of the hill, it would roll back down, and he would just have to start pushing it up the hill again. I know that sometimes that's what this can feel like for some of you, and I'm right there with you because I feel the same thing. We don't need a cavalry because all we have to do to win is ignore feelings like that and push on through. All we have to do to win is endure. That's it. Greg Gutfeld. I'm sorry, that's his name. Greg Gutfeld on the Red Eye. He seems like a geek to me. I think he plays video games. I'm just guessing. I know I just interrupted this big dramatic speech with a bit of trivia. You just have to live with it. This is the bullshit hour. And we can do this. We don't need a cavalry because we can do this. That's it. That's my point. That's everything I have to say. We can do this if we endure. We don't need a cavalry coming over the hill. And even if Fox News could help us, and I think they could, I don't think they're going to, but we don't need them to. We just have to endure. And if events like this morning with Steve Tom Sawyer, if they keep happening, God forbid they keep happening to pros, we can expect people to turn to our side more and more. And as people see more and more the insane and abusive things the antis say, they turn to our side more and more. Even those who would otherwise listen or be inclined to listen to the social justice warriors. Okay, I am now sure I have been on the air, which is not what I was expecting, but I've been on the air for an hour, so the hour of bullshit is almost over. Last call for anybody who has any questions. None of your business says, I'd like to see Baldwin represent on Fox, preferably O'Reilly. I'd like to see Baldwin go on Fox. I don't know what show would be best, but yeah, Adam Baldwin going on Fox would be an awesome thing. Being able to say what happened with Gamergate and why he started it. Nero, Based Mom, Kathy Young, any of these people going on Fox would be a great thing. I don't expect it, though. Section 6. Okay, last question. Last thing I'll talk about. As far as I know, Section 6 was a joke that got started on a drunk stream yesterday, and it blew up really, really big, hit the trending mark while I was in my movies and Unplugged. I had people DM me about it, wanted to know what it was and what secret information I had. I literally actually have no secret information about Section 6. It seemed like something fun to do, so I posted a bunch of cryptic comments last night because what I said was true. Confusion aids your side when you're the underdog, and I figured throwing out some choice, well-written cryptic comments of my own that had meaning behind them. Some of the comments I've made literally were puzzles. If you read them and decrypted them, you would find a couple of interesting references. But it wasn't in connection with anything big or real that I know about. And I'm not trying to hide anything. If there is something behind Solution 6, excuse me, if there is something behind Solution 6, I don't know what it is. I haven't been told anything. I was just joining in the general shitposting fun because it was entertaining and it kept our spirits up, and keeping people's spirits up is critical to keeping our cause going as we move into the third month of asking people to do the right thing. That's all I have to say about Solution 6, excuse me. So I would be interested to see if anyone goes back through my tweets and figures out which of the 3 or 4 of them were puzzles, and then figures out what I was hinting at, what I had encoded in those tweets. I don't expect anyone to. You certainly don't have to, because they're not deep ARG style puzzles. They were just little cute things referencing some other stuff that other people had put up. All right. Thank you all for coming. I hope to be able to do this again at some point when I feel like it. And hopefully next time we can have other people with mics who want to get on and talk instead of just listening to me talk off the top of my head for an hour. I'm your host, Daddy Warpig. You can read me online at daddywarpig.com. Once again, daddywarpig.com. Those of you that got the wrong link when I was tweeting it out, you already know. Or you can follow me on Twitter at daddy_warpig, at daddy_warpig. As always, broadcasting from a secret bunker deep underneath the House of Geekery to hide from the killer hunter bots of the SJWs, of the antis, to hide from the Terminator units they send out to kill members of the pros. Thank you for tuning in. I am on the air Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, although there will be no show on Tuesday. Monday through Friday, 7 p.m., I am Daddy Warpig, and I will be back.